We'll be in Psalm 49 today. And like last week, this one is a psalm of the sons of Korah. You know, not everybody knows that not all the psalms were written by David. And I don't know why I've done two in a row. It's just I was looking at this one and said, I like this one. And the title of it in my Bible is, Why Should I Fear in Times of Trouble? And in this world today, I think this is a good psalm for us to learn from. You know, we have this idea, and it's promoted by all the preachers out there, that if you're a Christian, life is all sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. You know, if you just give enough money to me, God is going to bless you, and He's just going to pour out all the blessings. And so many people turn away from God because that's not the way it works. When we look back at the great heroes of the Bible, did Moses have it easy? Well, what about Samson? Well, what about David? A man after God's own heart. He didn't. We have this idea that when we're in God's loving hands, nothing bad will happen to us. The thing is, there's truth to that, but there's also a lie. And this psalm helps to get our minds right so that we can see what's going on. Hear this, all peoples. Give ear, all inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak wisdom. My meditation of my heart shall be understanding. I will incline my ear to a proverb. I will solve my riddle to the music of the lyre. Why should I fear in times of trouble? He says, I want everybody to listen. I'm going to tell you the truth here. I'm going to speak some wisdom to you. The meditation of my heart shall be understanding. In other words, he says, I have been meditating on this. I have been thinking on this. And I've got some understanding. He said, I listened to the Proverbs. I listened to the wisdom. I listened to those things. He said, I will solve my riddle to the music of the lyre. He says, I'm going to sit down in a quiet place, put some music on, and I'm going to think about it. How many times do we get in trouble in this life because we don't think, we don't take time, we don't do any of those things that God wants us to do? He's saying, I'm not just going to run my mouth out here and tell you things. I'm going to speak wisdom because I've been thinking and gaining understanding. I've been listening to the Proverbs. And I sat down and I thought it out. That's the way to keep out of trouble. Prepare yourself before you get there. It's usually too late if you wait until trouble strikes. Why should I fear in time of trouble, when the iniquity of those who cheat me surrounds me, those who trust in their wealth and boast in the abundance of their riches? Why should I fear? Let me think about this. What should cause me to be feared? Is, well, there are those around they're sinful. They cheat me. They do bad. And I look around and there are those who trust in their wealth and boast in the abundance of their riches. Does that happen today? Are there people around who will cheat you every chance they get? There are those who will pat you on the shoulder with one hand and pick your pocket with the other. You know, are there people who trust in their wealth and boast in the abundance of their riches? Does that not describe almost everybody 30 and under? Well, I've got the good tennis shoes, I've got this, everything has to do with what I have. And that can make you feel bad. Because, you know, contrary to what some of the preachers say, most people who serve God are not going to be rich. God will give them what they need, but not going to make them rich. Not saying that he doesn't for some, because there are some. But the fact is, most of us, because we're honest, are not going to have the money that other people have. He goes, truly, no man can ransom another or give to God the price of his life, for the ransom of their life is costly and can never suffice. He said, I wanted to tell you why you shouldn't fear. This is why. No man can ransom another. Nobody can get you out of the trouble with God that you get yourself into. No human being can pay that price or give to God the price of his own life. Not only can nobody else take care of you, you can't take care of you. No, you can't do it. The ransom of their life is costly. And now, living in the Christian age, we know what that cost is. It took the death of the Son of God. That's the price. That's the only price. Not the things you gain by cheating, not the things you gain by sin, not the things you gain by money and wealth. That's the only thing. For the ransom of their life is costly and can never suffice. That he should live on forever and never see the pit, for he sees that even the wise die. Guess what, people? We're going to die. The wise die, the rich die, the poor die. We all have an appointment at the judgment seat. Everybody is going to be there. Nobody is going to live forever and not see. The pit here means the grave or Sheol. And it's so wonderful when you see a good Christian pass. They're not running away from death, because they have learned from this that they have nothing to fear. The fool and the stupid alike must perish and leave their wealth to others. Their graves are their home forever, their dwelling places to all generations. There are graves throughout this state that nobody knows who they belong to anymore. They're still there. Found out from Doug about who and what was in the grave just across from Wanda's parents' place. You know, just across the fence, right there. And these are just new people. Go to the Holy Land. Go to Europe. You know, we look here and we see 150, 200-year-old graves and go, oh man. Go there. You see people from the 1500s. It's for everybody. That's just the way it works. Though they call lands by their own names, how many places in the United States were named after Daniel Boone? A whole bunch. Guess what? He's still in a 6x3 place, just like everybody else. His name is scattered everywhere, but he's still in the same box that everybody else is. Man in his pomp will not remain. He is like the beasts that perish. This is the path of those who have foolish confidence. Yet after them, people approve of their boasts. How many people live for the approval of the crowd? Right, wrong, or indifferent. As long as everybody approves of me and they give me a big name, I've got it made. Like sheep, they are appointed for Sheol. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that you're the President of the United States or that you are a celebrity and everybody loves you. The same way that sheep go to the slaughterhouse, we go down to Sheol, to the grave. That's just the way it's going to be. And you understand, you're going, oh man, this just seems so depressing. You know? He says I'm not supposed to fear, but everything he's saying is depressing. Death shall be their shepherd, and the upright shall rule over them in the morning. He said, it's not all like it looks like. Death is going to be their shepherd, but the upright, in that great morning, when the graves are open, the upright will rule over all of these people, over the ones with the money, the ones with the iniquity, the ones who had all the approval. Their forms shall be consumed in Sheol with no place to dwell, but God will ransom my soul from the power of Sheol, from the power of the grave. You know, we don't always think a lot about heaven and hell. We don't think a lot about the Hadean world. But one thing that we know is Jesus has told us we are going to dwell. We are going to abide in that heavenly city. We are going to dwell in heaven. That will be our abode. That will be our home. You notice that there is never once a reference like that about hell. Nobody dwells in hell. They may be there, but they're thrown into the pit. They will be there with no place to dwell. As their bodies go into the dirt, their soul is left with no place to call home, no place to go to. But he says, but God will ransom my soul from the power of Sheol, for he will receive me. Now this says Selah, and we have no idea what it means. So I'm going to put in the Hebrew word that we understand. For he will receive me. Hallelujah. Be not afraid when a man becomes rich, when the glory of his house increases. For when he dies, he will carry nothing away. His glory will not go down after him. For though while he lives, he counts himself blessed. And though you get praise when you do well for yourself, his soul will go to the generation of his fathers, who will never again see light. Man in his pomp, without understanding, is like the beasts that perish. Do we know or care anything about deer that die in the forest? No. You know, Disney had the song The Circle of Life. And guess what? Comes, it goes. And that's the way it is. But in this, he keeps coming back to the fact that that's the natural order. That's all man has to look forward to, is to live and to die and to be forgotten, unless he is the upright, unless God is going to ransom his soul. So why should I fear in times of trouble? Because I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going to be. And, you know, most of us have learned in our life that duration is important. Do you know why I worked in a prison for 23 years? Was so for the rest of my life, I wouldn't have to work. I endured pain for a short while to gain something for a long time. That's what the sons of Korah are saying here, is why should you worry about pain for a second, for problems for a second, when compared to eternity, when compared to the time when God will ransom your soul and save you from the grave and give you a home in heaven for ever and ever and ever? We have nothing to fear. When the worst happens, we still have that home in heaven. We have to realize what's important. What's important is not praying that God makes you rich. It sure would be nice. What's important is not being the most loved by your fellow man. What's important is knowing that God has forgiven you and loves you, and that his Son is preparing your dwelling place. He's fixing up your home. Most of us here have a house, don't we? We spend a lot. You know, we're not young anymore. Mowing the lawn, building a shed, fixing a door. We are always working on our dwelling place. Every time we think we get something done, there's another 3 things to do. But guess what? Christians, we've got a turnkey home. Jesus has been preparing our dwelling place for us. Won't have to mow a lawn. Won't have to fix that squeaky door. That's why we should not fear. Because when God is on your side, there is no one against you. You win.